Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to a little impromptu movie review. My wife and I, you've seen her before on past episodes of Zoobox Goes to the Movies.
Oh Lord, you're right. My arm's gonna get tired. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I forgot the thing that usually holds the phone when I do these ride or die things. Very exciting. We just got out of Venom a little while ago. We took our young son to go see an inappropriate movie.
Makes sense.
And we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to give spoiler-free for a few minutes, and then we'll probably just talk about whatever. Yeah.
Here, I'm going to do it this way. There we go.
All right. Well, hopefully it sounds okay. So, I will probably have a little bit less to say.
Yeah.
Spoiler, like non-spoiler wise. I thought it was fine. It's barely a movie. But it's fun. I think it serves its purpose. It's one of those times where you have, like, people make a sequel to something and they misunderstand what people liked about the first one. This one actually understands what people liked about the first one, and that's all they do.
Yeah.
There is no characters. There's not really that you have with any depth, or it's not that interesting.
I wouldn't say that. I think they do enough expedition for the two main new characters that...
Yeah, they do some exposition.
They do change a lot, though.
Well, yeah. We'll get into that after.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I think it's pretty successful in the sense that it's like a fun, zany monster movie. Like, that's what they did with it.
Yeah.
Even Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy, he actually walks around like Frankenstein. I don't know if you noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Dresses a little like Frankenstein.
Like if Frankenstein was trying to, like, blend in.
Like, they were sincerely, definitely, like, paying homage to that. It seemed, like, so direct to me. Like, how could that be anything else?
Yeah, and they even say monsters a bunch.
Yeah, so that's kind of the vibe of the movie, and I think in that sense it's pretty successful. It's worth going to see in the movie.
I think so.
I think so. I mean, it's got a spectacle attitude to it.
I think it was neat because of, like, the fights were actually kind of fun, and the sound was really cool. I really liked how Carnage sounded. Like, it's actually kind of how I would imagine it in my head, being a big fan of Carnage and Venom and all of that. So I was pleased.
You were pleased
with that. I mean, but I agree with you. It was fine. It's not like my favorite movie ever, or...
I think if you like the first one, you'll probably enjoy this to a certain extent.
Or if you're just like a fan, I think I liked it, even though they changed stuff, and you know how that bothers me sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, it is barely a movie. Like, there is not even a second act in this movie.
No.
There's not a second act at all. It just barrels ahead. Like, it's a 90-minute runtime, but that's with credits. It's really like an 80-minute movie. Like, it goes by very quickly.
It was very fast. Yeah, because at one point I was like, oh, we're here already. Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I was like, oh, they're going to the place that's clearly the end of the movie. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I was surprised, too, because I mean, I don't know how much...
So, what are your general thoughts? So do you think it's worth going to... Like, out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
3.75.
3.75?
Almost a 4.
I would give it 2.75 or 3. Because I think, relative to what it's trying to accomplish, it largely does that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a very anemic movie. Like, it's barely a movie. And I don't know how else to put it. Like, I guarantee you there is a ton of shit on the cutting room floor that just did not work when they got into post, and they thought it bogged down the movie too much.
Yeah.
And they just cut it down to the most bare essentials that you could possibly have. I have a feeling that prologue in the beginning was supposed to be a lot longer. With introducing Cletus Cassidy and stuff, but yeah, if you like the first one, I say give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what do you want to talk about spoiler-wise?
Well, like I said, they changed a lot from. I mean, I know with even the first Venom, they're drawing from a couple different storylines. They changed a lot of the origins for some of the characters.
Yeah, all of them.
Well, yeah. No, but I was really let down with Ravencroft, because so actually in the comic, and this would have been, like, when I first figured out what they were doing with this movie, and I knew Ravencroft was going to be in it. So for people that don't know, is like, Shriek and Carnage actually meet in Ravencroft. Like, he's a prisoner at Cletus's at Ravencroft. And then when he becomes Carnage, he does that freak out that he does in San Quentin, but he, like, does it in Ravencroft. And then Shriek is actually one of the people he releases, and then she's always kind of admired him, so they just like burn it down together, and then they gather a bunch of other like villains, and they become like a family. So no, I mean, like it's like a family group, but it's like some really badass villain collective actually.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I'm just gonna do this
the
now.
Sinister 7.
It's actually Sinister 16.
Probably.
Anyway, or they're part of this anyway.
Yeah, so that's not in the movie.
No, so that's not in the movie. So I really thought within my head, like Ravencroft would have been way more bombastic and fun than it was. And then again, too, you have to think of the rating maybe played into that, like how much like crazy, insane, like I think they could have just taken San Quentin and put it into Ravencroft to be more story forward.
I would say, I think like a part of that though is, even though the first Venom was very surprisingly like a big success, that's why there's another Venom movie.
Yeah.
That's a budget consideration. I mean, they're just not going to do a bunch of crazy shit that involves like other, because it's like
but for me, like I mean, is they should have just melded it into one instead of like do San Quentin and then do.
Oh well, I think because Ravencroft is a secret facility.
Yes.
So Eddie Brock would not have access to Cletus Cassidy in the way that he does in the movie if he was at Ravencroft.
Yeah, because they even changed their kind of back history.
It's completely different.
Ow, my arm. Anyway,
it has nothing to do with the comic books whatsoever. It's its own thing.
Yeah, but I do like what they tease what could potentially be happening in Venom 3. I don't know if you picked up on it.
No, I don't know really enough about the comics or the characters to really know.
So Detective Mulligan he actually had very little to do with Shriek in like her backstory, like with the eye. Like she does get shot in the face in the comic, but it's not Detective Mulligan. But Detective Mulligan actually becomes Toxin in the comics, who is the son of Carnage.
That makes sense, sure.
So when they tease
him,
so I think that's going to be fun because he's also Toxin actually becomes, he's more like Venom in the sense where he looks like Venom but he's more red. So it's the big bulky looking guy. It looks like Carnage's colors on the body of mostly Venom pretty much, but he is an anti-hero a lot like Venom. So he actually becomes like a savior for the city. But he also falls prey to the Carnage side of the brain that kind of gets him in trouble, kind of like Venom sometimes.
So they're going to do a movie where there's going to be a big bad guy, but it's going to be Eddie Brock returning to San Francisco thinking that Toxic is the bad guy, and Toxin, whatever his name is, Britney Spears, and then they're going to team up and fight the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's Venom 3, everybody.
Well, you heard it here first. You heard it here first. No. I think that would be fun, though, if they do another Venom 3. And then there's that other thing.
It's crazy, though, how little there is to talk about, actually, about the movie.
Yeah.
Although, I will say this, Tom Hardy, again, kind of saves the movie because he really commits to the bit.
Yes.
And he just kind of goes for it. And that's ends up being, there's a lot of physicality, a lot of physical fun, like a lot of physical humor, and his delivery is usually really good.
Yeah.
And I would say that's what I meant when I said, like, they saw the things that worked about the first one, and then they just pretty much give you that over and over again.
Yeah, I like that. It's like that meme I like to share where it's talking about how, like Tom Hardy's in a superhero movie and he could just be shirtless the whole time, but it's really just him looking like shit the whole movie, and you still like are in love with him. And I'm like, yeah. No.
Sure.
No, I just think it's funny because it's like he's just kind of like this gross, sweaty, like miserable looking dude.
Yeah.
It's a good performance. Actually, I like all Michelle. What's her name? Michelle Williams is good.
The guy from
Veep. He plays another Dan.
Another Dan.
He's funny.
It's
enjoyable. Mrs. Chen.
Woody Harrelson was fine.
Oh, I thought he did Cletus pretty good. I mean, he could have been a little more like.
He's too old for that to play that.
He could have been a little more comical too, and I think I agree with you. You made a comment on how you kind of wish they hadn't changed the wig from the tease.
Yeah, so at the end of Venom 1, they do a teaser where he goes to San Quentin to talk to Cletus Cassidy, and he's got the more
goofy,
comic book accurate hair.
Yep.
And I thought it looked awesome. Like, it looked stupid comic booky.
Right,
like, and now they decided that they just change it for no reason.
Actually, I want to take it back. When you talk about how he looks, he kind of looked like Josh Homme walking around with this like unbuttoned, that slicked back red hair.
A little bit.
And this like weird.
With his Frankenstein walk.
Yeah. I actually had that thought when he gets out of the Mustang. It's like, that looks like Josh Homme. Oh no.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's probably a lot of cool little homages and stuff that I probably didn't pick up on.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little things.
There's definitely a lot of stuff with
when
monster movie stuff.
When he like squishes the spider and says with great power when he squishes the spider.
Yeah. Oh, that stuff. And then there's the post-credit sequence. So Eddie Brock and Venom are in the Bahamas or something, and they're hiding out. And basically, whatever happens in the new Spider-Man movie brings Venom into the MCU Spider-Verse.
Which I was pretty excited.
And Venom immediately recognizes Tom Holland and says like he wants to go get him.
And licks him.
So, I don't know if that's going to mean like just Venom will have cameo or something in whatever Marvel's doing, or they're just actually finally like Sony is like, no, we need to get Tom Holland into the Sony movies.
Yeah.
And his contract is ending. I don't think Marvel is going to have him for much longer, but they'll take that character and they'll just roll it into their movies.
Yeah.
Which, if Tom Holland wants to keep playing, I suppose. But
what else is he
What do you think? Do you think it's going to be cool?
I think
you like Tom Holland Spider-Man, don't you?
I actually really think he's a great Peter Parker. I know.
Nonsense.
I think he's a fantastic Peter Parker, actually.
Do you like the movies? Didn't you like Andrew Garfield more than you like Tobey Maguire?
Yeah. I don't like Tobey Maguire.
Shameful.
I agree with our we have a friend that was talking, like, just before it became like a thing, was just like, you just focus on those like weepy dumb eyes all the time. And
that's why he's a good Peter Parker.
I don't know. You and I will never agree on those movies. But that's not my era. That's not the Spider-Man
Sarah's like, oh no, I used to read the comics in the 90s. I like Todd McFarlane. I'm fucking edgy, bro. You looking forward to the new Spawn?
No, I've never really liked Spawn, actually.
Yeah, nobody does.
The comic we never asked for and nobody wanted.
Well, I mean, it's a cool story, it's a cool story, like Todd McFarlane, why he makes Spawn. But I've never known Spawn's not good.
Just a sell toy. Sorry, it's like bumpy. My arm is dying.
Actually, the cartoon was fine. I enjoyed that for what it was, but
I'm sure you did.
It has no ending.
No, I think it has potential to be interesting, but it also has potential to be awful. I've kind of cooled off on the Marvel movies, so.
Yeah, I mean,
as a Marvel fan, almost my whole life, I kind of was like, I'm sick of it.
I don't know why would I want to watch a Spider-Man movie with this Venom?
No.
He's a hero. He's not a villain. Like, why would I want to see, like, the fast-forwarded version of Venom fighting Spider-Man? Like, I just don't care.
Well, because the way Venom saw it was he is seen as, like, a bad guy right now. He sees Spider-Man as, like, public enemy number one.
I know, but...
And
we
also,
never get to see the Eddie Brock from the comic books, which is he's an asshole, he's insecure.
No, and then he also
roid rager, and he becomes Venom.
I mean, but it's also hinted at too about like his position and how it was like Peter Parker and him kind of competed in that world. It's kind of like there's a little like thumbing of the nose in that in the first Venom, because they take a lot from Lethal Protector in the first Venom issue.
I know.
Yeah.
But this is not the same Peter Parker, because there's no way that they're referencing the same Peter Parker. In the first Venom, which they did is just a cutesy nod.
Yeah.
But, which is interesting, because they have that Jared Leto, that Morbius movie.
Yeah, which looks interesting. It's just Jared Leto.
They have a poster of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man as that he's like walking down the street, is in the background of a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So...
we're all just getting...
So I guess, I don't know what they're I would imagine that Sony will keep it all so like they're all connected.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
We'll find out. Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so overall, it was an okay afternoon.
It was okay. It was fine.
I mean, our son's opinion was he fell asleep, so...
Well, yeah.
It was nap time.
Yeah. He fell asleep during the big climactic battle.
Yeah.
Which is... just like all of these movies, it's a giant CGI cartoon nightmare.
It wasn't that bad though. It could have been. I always said that. I even said about the last Venom movie was like, these symbiotes could be a lot messier than they are. They could be
Yes.
Transformers
They could be like
fight
Transformers.
messy.
Well, just I think maybe the strength of the Venom movies is that they're very small scale.
Yeah.
So even like when you have like the big CGI like nightmare battle,
Yeah.
it's still readable. You could tell what's going on.
And like who's who.
Because there's only so many elements to it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like when you go watch a Marvel movie, everybody's stopping the end of the apocalypse. Every fucking movie.
Yeah, and you're just like, what?
So actually having something that's more like locally focused and small stakes, like that's what they should. If they do Daredevil, they should do that. Like that kind of same idea where they keep
it to a
small.
few corners of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, a couple blocks. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.
I won't.
She won't.